Let's start with something you've probably seen before. A video, an ad, maybe even a friend telling you about a simple device, something you can build at home, that can supposedly power your house for almost nothing. No fuel, no solar panels, no ongoing cost, just a clever setup. And suddenly, your electric bill drops to near zero. Now, if you've ever stopped and thought, wait, how is that even possible? You're asking the right question. Because this topic sits right at the intersection of curiosity and confusion. And today, we're going to break it down in a clear, grounded way. Not to dismiss the idea of home energy solutions, but to separate what sounds right from what actually holds up in the real world. Why these systems sound so convincing. First, let's understand why these concepts spread so easily. They're built around real ideas. Motion creates energy. Generators convert movement into electricity. Efficiency can reduce waste. All of that is true. You see it in hydroelectric dams, wind turbines, electric cars using regenerative braking. So when someone says, hey, you can use motion to generate power at home, it doesn't sound crazy. It sounds familiar. The problem is what comes next. Where the logic breaks down, here's the key issue. In every real system that generates electricity, there's an input, water flowing downhill, wind pushing blades, fuel being burned. Electricity coming from a battery. Energy doesn't come from nowhere. It's converted. So when a system claims to be self-powering, meaning it runs itself and produces excess electricity, that's where the physics stops making sense. Because every system has losses. Friction. Heat, electrical resistance. Those losses mean you always get less energy out than you put in, not more. The spinning core idea. Explained, a lot of these DIY concepts revolve around a spinning mechanism, a rotor, a flywheel, a low-friction system. And again, these are real components. Flywheels are used in industrial systems to store energy. Motors can act as generators. But here's the important distinction. They store and transfer energy. They don't create it. If you spin a system, it will eventually slow down unless energy is continuously added. That's unavoidable. Why it still feels like it works now. Here's where things get interesting. Some people build small versions of these systems and do see output. A light turns on, a battery charges slightly. Something appears to work, and that creates belief. But what's actually happening is usually one of three things. Stored energy is being released. The system was pre-charged or manually powered. Measurement is misleading. Small outputs look impressive without context. External input is overlooked. Even minor inputs, manual spinning, hidden power sources, can create output. So the system isn't generating new energy. It's just converting or releasing what was already there. What actually works in the real world? Now, this doesn't mean home energy solutions are a dead end. Far from it. There are practical ways people are reducing dependence on the grid, but they follow different principles. Instead of trying to create energy from nothing, they focus on reliable input sources, efficient usage, smart prioritization. For example, a small battery backup system can keep essentials running. A well-designed solar setup can offset part of your usage. Even simple load management, knowing what to power and when, can make a big difference. The shift that matters most. The biggest mindset shift isn't about finding a magic device. It's about redefining the goal. Instead of asking, how do I power my entire house for free? A more practical question is, how do I keep the important things running, no matter what? That's a completely different problem, and it leads to solutions that are actually achievable. Why essentials? Change everything. Think about what really matters during an outage. Your fridge, basic lighting, phone charging, internet in some cases. That's it. Not your entire house, not every appliance, just the essentials. And when you narrow it down like that, the energy requirement drops dramatically, which means the solution becomes simpler. The real opportunity most people miss. Here's the part most people overlook. You don't need massive power generation to gain stability. You need consistency, efficiency control. Even a small, well-designed setup can give you protection during outages, reduced reliance on the grid, more predictable energy usage, and that's where real value comes from. Not eliminating your bill overnight, but reducing your vulnerability. Why the all-or-nothing thinking fails? A lot of marketing around energy pushes extremes. Cut your bill to zero. Power your entire home. Never rely on the grid again. But in reality, most households don't need that. And chasing those extremes often leads to overspending, overcomplicated systems, unrealistic expectations. The smarter approach is incremental. Start small. Focus on essentials. Build from there. So what should you take away from this? The idea of simple, independent power is appealing for a reason, because people want control. They want stability. They want to feel prepared, and that's valid. But the path to that outcome isn't through endless energy devices. It's through understanding how energy actually works and applying that knowledge in practical ways. On this channel, that's exactly what we focus on. No hype, no unrealistic promises, just clear, grounded breakdowns of how to think about energy at home. In upcoming videos, we'll cover what a realistic home backup setup looks like, how to identify your essential energy needs, where most people overspend, and how to avoid it, and how to build a system that actually supports your lifestyle. If that kind of practical approach makes sense to you, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see an example of a system that's often talked about in this space, along with a breakdown of what it claims and how it's structured, you can check the link in the description or the first pinned comment. It connects directly to what we discussed today, and it'll give you more context so you can evaluate it for yourself with a clearer understanding. Subscribe, check the link, and I'll see you in the next video.